The balance works both ways, both offensively and defensively, but it's really about creating those mismatches on the higher skill levels, really managing your fatigue for each of the lines, catching a line tired, just like you see in the real NHL, where you catch a tired line versus a fresh line on the ice. All those things factor into it. So it's really just bringing out the player differentiation of all the players on the ice, forwards, defensemen, everyone.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you think about, you look at someone like Duncan Keith, and I'll pick on Alberts from the Canucks. The difference for them to change their speed and control and their momentum is Duncan Keith can take a lot more chances. He has way better skating ability than Alberts. You'll notice that Alberts, when he sees a guy coming in fast, he actually will stop earlier to get his gap control so he doesn't get beat to the outside. Where Duncan Keith can actually start to keep moving up and maybe take some more chances and anticipate. Why? Because he has the ability to get back faster. So it is that relationship between speed and control, that momentum, offense and defense. In 12, I know for a fact the way I play, there was no consequence of stepping up. There was no consequence of always trying to go in for the hit about getting back on defense, because everybody moved at the same speed. So once you stepped up and got caught, you could pretty much get back into the play.
I guess, and the one last thing I'll add to that is, with everything we've done with the skating this year, we've tried to make it predictable. So predictable is one of the things that we're really focused on. So when you see someone going into their top end speed with one hand on the stick, you know that their agility is going to be restricted, like we saw in the demo there. So you can plan around that. You can plan where you want to get to, knowing where he wants to get to and what his restrictions are around that. So it's really just like a real defenseman in real life. It's about reading the play, reading the player coming at you, reading the situation, and then acting accordingly based on all the factors you take in.
Questions around presentation improvements. Are there any? We know there are, so I don't know if you want to talk about them. I don't even know if you want to show.
Yeah, we can talk about it real quick. So one of the things that we focused on this year is, we spent all this effort on AI, trying to make the game play realistic, the AI play realistic whistle to whistle. But we wanted to extend that beyond the whistle as well. So the most noticeable thing in gameplay right now is you won't see us cutting to the non-interactive sequences like we've had in the past years. Now we actually cut to AI because the AI is acting intelligently. We can actually take the camera just like a true broadcast does and just cut to the player doing the appropriate action after the whistle. So the biggest change there from a gameplay, from a pace of play, from a presentation perspective is moving away from the scripted sequences to actual AI-driven sequences after the whistle.
Any new leagues that are coming in this year?
Status quo on the leagues for this year, but again, that's something that we're always looking at each and every year, just looking for different ways to reach new consumers out there.
You guys have anything?
Game Face, is it going to be integrated this year?
So we're focusing mostly on the gameplay here today. So I know there's lots of other questions you guys will have that we'll get to later on in the months to come.
Okay.
We want our goalies to be able to save anything at any time. So that way, when we put the game out to consumers and they do find something that they find is kind of the best way to score, that we can adjust via tuner sets like we've done in the past and plug any hole that we see. So we spend a lot of time just making our goalie as versatile, as flexible as possible, being able to save anything. Once we have a goalie who can save anything, it's easy to give goals back. But then once we get the game out there and there's millions of online games being played and we see tendencies in the way people play, we want that flexibility to be able to react with that quickly and plug it via tuner set. So that's been our approach with goalies this year. And I can't wait for you guys to start playing the game and seeing how different the goalies are this year. The amount of saves that they can make because of every limb, because of the anticipation factoring into the goalies this year, and you can score 5-hole goals, like legit 5-hole goals as well this year. So all that stuff, we feel we want to put a lot of effort into our goalies as well. But like I said, it would be all for naught if we put out a system that had glitch goals in it. So we want to be able to react in case there are anything to slip through. Yeah, so we want the speed to factor into that. The great thing about the physics is it's real world physics, because what we do is we don't make physics for hockey. What we do is we just model what would happen in the real world and then apply it to hockey. So a person going at top end speed that is 6'3", 6'4", 250 is going to pretty much run over anything in its path. So speed's just another element, because we have more speed, more top end speed in the game this year. You're going to see bigger hits if you catch a guy in the right situation. So again, once you guys start playing that today, you'll see how it's all coming together. But we want to see those big, strong guys be big, strong guys in the game and really make a difference. You have a fourth line guy who dumps the puck in. If you get a chance to take a hit on the defenseman, we want that big, strong fourth line guy to hit that defenseman, knock him over every single time. He has enough speed, depending on the size and strength of the D-man that he's hitting.
Yeah, and what makes so the concern would be you have someone who is 6'3", 250. All you need to do is go down the wing and cut in, and no one can handle them. And that's not the case. And it's really about even the smaller defensemen. It's about getting good body position and leveraging that speed and control. And as someone's going in and trying to cut in, you don't need much effort to put them off balance. You just need to be in good position and give them a little shot. You don't need to go in and step in and have this massive hit. You just need to guide them out. As you saw David Booth, the defenseman, he's a big, strong guy cutting in. The defenseman just guided him in and took him into the side of the net. So that's the stuff that it is a game within a game. It's about getting in good body position, and it's about making that hit. And when someone's cutting across the blue line at full speed and you catch them, you're going to see big hits, bigger hits like that this year, just because of the physics and the speeds that people are traveling at.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll add to that is because we focus so much on the predictability part. So when you see a guy, so the first thing we did when we got top end speed in there is you want to go top end speed all the time because you want to get the big hit on the guy because of how fast you're going. You expect to really hammer him. But as you use the puck here, you see that guy coming with one hand on the stick, going as fast as he can. You understand, you can read that his mobility is limited because of how fast he's going. And once he starts to veer one way or the other, you know that he can't adjust fast enough. So you almost it's a game of cat and mouse. Recognize the speed he's coming at you with, see which way he's trying to anticipate you going. You go the other way and he's gone, has no chance. Yeah, so GM Connected is a multi-user online dynasty that allows you to be the GM and play either single-player experience or invite 29 of your closest friends anywhere around the world to play as part of that experience. And there's been other multi-user dynasties done before. The great thing about our multi-user online dynasty, or GM Connected, is you can play co-op play with your buddy, or you can have the OTP element as well. So you can be the GM, even if you're not a great Twitch player, but you're a manager type guy. You can do the managing and have 6 of your buddies play the games for you via OTP. So that's really the thing that sets us apart, and the big innovation for us in that space is the ability for you and your friends to be part of a single experience and play the way that you want to play. And I'll add one more thing to that. When we started talking about this mode early on, it was really about making this accessible to anybody, so that even if your buddies aren't great Twitch players, but they still like hockey, they like the fantasy type sports, they like the managerial part of the game, they can still be part of this league with you and do as much or as little as they want. So because we've done so much with our AI, we wanted to expose that to users. So we have a feature called Build Your AI, which is part of GM Connected, and you can basically customize your AI so that if you're not a great Twitch player, your buddies in the league can play against your built AI and get a flavor of the way that you want your team to play based on the way that you built it. Good question. Yeah, so we're working right now on just balancing the dekes, the quick dekes and the loose puck dekes with the speed. And obviously a big part of the success rate of that is going to be around the player differentiation, the attributes of the players trying to execute them. So obviously, a Crosby going at top end speed and trying to do a loose puck deke is going to be much more successful than name your fourth liner trying to do it the same deke.
It's different than in the past because you get up to speed a lot faster, and your mobility is lessened because of that and the control you have. That's when we talked about the speed and control. You will, to get that quick burst left and right and have that kind of control, you want to get up there, get into a glide state, and then maybe make a cut, and then get up to top speed, then get into a glide and have more control. So that is truly what the flow of the NHL is. Most guys, unless there's a semi-breakaway or a chance, don't go top end speed from one end to the other. Usually they cut through the neutral zone, they have a bit of a glide, then they cut over and they get some more speed up. So we really wanted to capture what that's like to be out on the ice and truly capture that flow.
Anything else from you guys?
Yeah, has anything been done with the collisions? Like, can you collide with other players without having to initiate a check?
I can't remember where we are with that right now. So I'm going to say no for right now, but right now what we have in the build that you guys are playing today is the ability for you to occasionally hit your own teammate. It's something that we're playing with. Eventually we'll get to the point where everybody's live on the ice and just incidental contact will have incidental contact. What we found though when we tried that in the past is that it really hampers the overall gameplay experience because there's so many collisions happening all the time. It just makes the game really sluggish. but it's something that we're playing with.
AI controlled, they'll get into the lanes more. They won't allow people to come at you like that. And the second of all, if someone's screaming at you like that and you're standing still, a quick left, that's where the quick acceleration, the quick sidestep, you can actually get around where their momentum will be carrying them out. And that's kind of what I talked about before. There was no consequence to the momentum. There was no consequence of flying at somebody straight on, because once you could turn so quickly and you could immediately do something. And that's the thing. If someone comes straight at me with full speed, it's actually not that hard to do a quick step around them and actually have them fly by, right? So that's kind of the two ways that we're attacking that.
Yeah, we want to. I don't like the bubble. So the reason why the bubble is there is to prevent exploit goals, guys, exploiting the ability to bump the goalie and score goals that we don't want to see going in. The flip side of that, though, is we want to, as much as we can, get rid of that bubble this year, which is something that we're playing with right now. I'd like to see it that there's no bubble at all. You can run the goalie anytime you want, and maybe just have a little bit of assistance. If we recognize that you're not going square at the goalie, but you're trying to veer away and trying to avoid, maybe let you avoid the goalie in that situation. But if you definitely want to hit the goalie, we should let you hit the goalie and call the penalty. And just like Dean said, we think this is the biggest leap on this generation of console for us. So I'm excited for you guys to get your hands on it and start giving us some feedback. We're looking for a lot of things out of you guys today to really help us during the final stretch here.